Hello. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video. And on this particular training, we're going to continue configuring our Zap that will allow us to take any contact data that has been generated from an outside contact form and get that information posted into PhoneBurner so that our team can get on the phone with those contacts within moments. We're talking minutes, even seconds, depending on how you configure your account. Now, hopefully you've already watched the other videos where we talk about how you can get the contact form data into Zapier. We also talked about how you can use the text formatter in Zapier to help you format the data if it's not coming in exactly right, so that you can get it prepared to be posted into PhoneBurner or into any CRM, really. And on this particular training, we're going to add another step to our Zap. So I'm going to click on the little plus sign. That'll give us another step. And right now, we're still not going to post that record to PhoneBurner. Now, don't worry, you don't have to do everything that I do in this training, but I want to cover a lot of different elements in smaller training videos to help you understand things that you might want to consider whenever you are capturing information and wanting to post it into PhoneBurner. Now, in this particular training, I'm actually going to now take this record that we've captured in JotForm, we formatted, and I'm actually going to post it to a Google Sheet. Now, I'm using Google Sheets as like a catch-all for a CRM. A lot of times when you're capturing contact information out there, you may have another CRM that is not PhoneBurner, and you want to post that information into that CRM. So in this case, Google Sheets is going to act as our pseudo CRM. So I'm going to go ahead and select that as my action. And now I need to choose what the action event is going to be. So I'm going to click on this and you're going to see several options. And of course, if you're posting this into a CRM, you're going to see similar thing with different options. Create a spreadsheet row. This is kind of like creating a new contact record. However, we need to consider the concept of duplicates. There may be times when the same contact fills out that form multiple times, and we need to decide if and when we're going to allow duplicates. So in this particular case, rather than creating a spreadsheet row, I'm going to choose the option Lookup Spreadsheet Row. I'm going to go ahead and continue. And now I'm going to choose my account. I've got my PhoneBurner account. I'm going to select that one. Continue. I'm going to connect that to my drive. Now I need to choose the spreadsheet that I'm actually connecting to. In this case, I have a spreadsheet already pre-configured for this. It's my Zapier 2021 training. And you'd want to have your own spreadsheet already pre-created for this. And once I connect to that spreadsheet, I need to choose which worksheet within that spreadsheet I want to be updating. In this particular case, I'm going to be updating the Leads tab within that spreadsheet. And now I need to identify my lookup column. What column within that spreadsheet is going to be what defines a duplicate? This could be a phone number. This could be an email address. And of course, if you're connecting to a CRM, similar question is going to be coming up. How do you define a duplicate? Now, in this particular case, based off of the type of data that I have for this example, I'm going to use the VIN number as my duplicate. So let's say, for example, I have somebody filling out my form and they put in a specific VIN number. If they fill out the form again and use the same VIN number, that will be caught as a duplicate. But if they use the same phone number and email, but a different VIN, that just means they have a different car, and so I want to track that differently. So for lookup column, it's going to give me a list of all my columns, and I'm going to choose VIN as my column. And now I need to grab the value. That's going to be coming from the form. So let's go to the Jot form, find the VIN field. So whatever value comes into the form in the VIN field will be checked against my lookup column in the spreadsheet. I'm not going to worry about supporting lookup column. It's going to work from bottom up. That's the default, and I'm happy with that. And these last two options are really important. Should this step be considered a success when nothing is found? We're going to leave that set to false. And then right here where it says Create Google Sheets Spreadsheet Row, if it doesn't exist yet, yes, we want to do that. If it doesn't identify a duplicate, we want to create the row. So we're going to go ahead and select that. And as you can see, it just opened up or unlocked a bunch of fields here. So if it doesn't find a match, we need to create that record in our Google Sheet or in our CRM, right? So in this particular case, we're going to take all of the other values from the Jot form and start filling out our spreadsheet. And the first one here is our first name. Now remember, the first name and last name were combined in Jot form, so we need to go to our text formatter and grab Sally for the first name and Sample as the last name. And then everything else should be coming from our Jot form. And we're just mapping the fields from the other steps into these fields here so that it'll update our spreadsheet. So here's our spreadsheet with nothing in it. And we're going to go ahead and continue mapping this out. Now for source, I'm not actually going to get something from the Jot form. I'm just going to type in Jot form because everything coming through this path is a Jot form lead. And I'm just going to log that source in the actual document. And then we've got date created. I'm going to go ahead and get the created at. Last call date, I don't know that yet because I haven't actually called this lead. So there are going to be some fields that I can't update because that's going to be used later on in the training. So we're going to skip last called, last call date, last called by, last called status, total calls, and PB contact ID. Now lead ID, that we're going to grab from the Jot form. Lead IDs can be a very important piece of information whenever you're passing information back and forth between different systems. That represents the specific record on that database. So if you're pulling data from a CRM over to PhoneBurner, that record will most likely have a lead or contact or record ID, and you'd want to capture that and store that in PhoneBurner, which we will be talking about when we get to the point of actually posting the record in PhoneBurner. But in this case, we're going to use this lead ID from Jot form to help kind of fill in that space. So here you can see we've reached the end of our Google Doc. We've mapped all of the fields that we care about so far. And you can see there's another question about extra fields. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're going to go ahead and continue. Now we're going to go ahead and test this. So let's scroll down to the bottom and we're going to click Test and Review. That'll start processing it. And look at that. It was faster than I could bring it over here on the screen. Sally sample has been added to our Google Doc. All of the information is in there as we would expect it. Scroll over. All the details. Perfect. And so that's it for this particular training step. I appreciate you sticking with me as we go through this step by step, grabbing data from outside of the system and preparing it to get it posted into PhoneBurner. So make sure you continue watching these trainings so you don't miss anything and you know how to make sure that you get the most accurate information posted to PhoneBurner in the most timely way. So thanks again and happy dialing.